welcome back to the session. So in the previous session we have seen about the different requirement analysis. What are the requirement analysis? What are the requirement analysis models? What are the models? Why we are doing those models? So for what purposes the models are designed for the requirement analysis. So and also we have seen the some analysis of the thumb rules, thumb rules given by the some two contributors. Okay, so apart from that, so now we'll go for the next topic, that is a domain analysis. So we said that requirement analysis. So requirement analysis, in what ways we have to do? So what are the things we have to consider in requirement analysis? What is the domain? In domain purpose, what are the analysis we have to do? So what is the purpose for that? So let us see that. So the goal of domain analysis is straightforward. So what is the main goal for the domain analysis? Let us go. So the first point is to identify common problem solving elements that are applicable to all the applications within the domain. So domain is nothing but is one of the category. That means, for example, if it is considered to the software, that means software is a one domain. System development is a one domain. Website application is a one domain. Okay. So in that domain, so what are the different common problems? So first we have to identify what are the common problems solving elements that are applicable. So whether the what are the thing we are going to develop. So for example, in website design. So in website design, what are the previous problems we are solving? So what are the different elements that are considered in order to design the website? So that is known to the website developers. Okay. So they have to know what are the previous problem solving. So what are the main common problem we'll get after doing the some developing of the some software product. So what are the things we have to consider? Okay. And next point is to find or create those analysis classes and or analysis patterns that are broadly applicable to that they will be reused. So for example, if the software, the product, what is already existed, in that we have to make some changes. So what is the things we have to if implement in that? So how can we reuse? For example, operating systems. So operating system is the stuff from the when the system is developed. At the time onwards, when the computer came into existence, at the time onwards, the operating system is exists. But according to the technology advancements, they are making some changes in that and reusing the same operating system programming. Yes or no? Yes. So like that. So whatever the previous, so what are the patterns we have to include in that? So according to the technology advancement, what are the patterns we have to include? So according to the technology advancements, what are the changes we can do? So that the product already existed product, how can we reuse? Okay, so that is this point. And next, so that is a domain analysis. Next point, next topic is requirement modeling approaches. What are the different requirement modeling approaches? So what is, we said that requirement analysis, after doing the requirement analysis, we will go for the requirement models. So let us see what are the different requirements modeling approaches. One view of requirement modeling called structured analysis considers data and the process that transform the data as separate entities. So this requirement modeling, so in one point of view, so they are saying in this topic they are saying in one point of view. So that is the structured analysis. So what is the structured analysis? So in this structured analysis, they will consider the data. So whatever the data it is there, and the process that transforms the data as separate entities. So for example, in Chitram movie, Chitralahari movie, so I said in previous session also, in Chitralahari movie, what is the, when the hero attempt to come to the company, so when he was saying his idea, so that is the data. He is giving us some data. What is the data he is giving? So when someone met an accident at night times or in the outskirts of the city, when there is no person or roaming over there, so that is the data. So what is the data given by the user? So we have to take it into and make it into some elements. That means what are the data is there, we have to consider that is into elements. Elements are nothing but how do we mold that one. That means, so when the when one person is met with an accident, what we have to do? So the chip, that means the whatever the is there the device has to connect to the important contacts. Okay, that is the data. So whatever the thing is there, that is divided into some elements. So that those elements are called as entities. So here the main theme is the making of the chip, making of the device, how the device has to work. So that is the element. Okay. So and next, so data objects are modeled in a way that defines their attributes and relationship. So we said that objects, we use some objects. What are the objects? Real world entities. That means this smartboard marker, this is a one object. In that previous example, I have given the chip. So that is one object. Okay. That object model in a way that defines their attributes and relationships. So if it takes in a programmatic way, so for Java, what you people write, or for the C++, whether you have read Java or not, I don't know. So in Java, what we do? First we define the class. In class we have given us some functions. We have to given us some variable declaration. Some a is equal to 10. That is the attribute. So int a. That means a is a of type int. So that is the attributes and relationships. So relationships are nothing but some functions. What are the functions we have to write in the program? So we have to define all those things. And next is the second approach. So we have seen the first approach. So first approach is the structured analysis, and the second approach is the object-oriented analysis. So one point of view is the first one we have seen the structured analysis. Now we are going for the object analysis. This object analysis focusing on the definition of classes and the manner in which they are collaborate with one another to affect customer requirements. So in object-oriented analysis, so previously we have seen the structured analysis. In structured analysis, what are the things we have considered? So we consider the data. So whatever the data given by the user, we have to make it into some objects. We divided it into some objects. Okay. So here, in the second approach, the main focus is on the defining the classes. So while writing the code, so what are the main classes we have to write? What is the class definition we have to do here? Okay. So and apart from that, in which they collaborate with one another to affect the customer effects. So in order to define the classes like this, whatever the requirements given by the customer, is it affectable or not? So according to the customer requirements, we can develop the product or not. So they will collaborate with each other. And next point is UML and the unified process are predominantly object oriented. So unified process, I said the unified process in the first unit. First unit, last topic is the unified process. So in unified process, they will take some activities. What are those activities? Communication, planning. So they will go for some processing model. And also UML, Unified Modeling Language. So these two are, so in this topic is object-oriented analysis. So for doing this object-oriented analysis, these two UML and Unified Process are used in order to do the object-oriented analysis. And next, thirdly, each element of the requirements model is represented in following figure, represents the problem from a different point of view. So what are the elements we have to use in the requirement models? What are those? So this is a one diagrammatic way. So here the elements of the analysis model. This diagram is about the elements of the analysis model. So what are the elements? So here we have the different elements. Okay. So this is the software requirements. So this software requirements, how they consider is, one is the scenario based, one is the class model, one is the behavior model, one is the flow model. We have seen already. Scenario based, class models, flow models, behavior models. We have seen in the previous class, previous session. Okay. So in the scenario based, they use use cases, user stores. Use cases means actor wise. I said that we will use the one actor. According to the actor, what are the things they have to do? So it will be based upon the user control. That means actor model. Okay. So that is the use cases. In class models means they go for the class diagram, collaboration diagrams. What are those diagrams? Those diagrams are the unified modeling languages. Okay. So I will tell what are the unified modeling languages when the topic we have get. So next one is the flow models. In flow models, we have the data flow diagrams, data models. I think you people know about the data flow diagrams. So how the data has to flow from one point to the another point, like a flow chart. And data models. So data models is also like a DFDs, but it's not according to the databases. So in database, how the tables have to create. So from one table to another table, how do we have to link? That is a data models. And next, behavioral models. This model is about the state diagram, sequence diagrams. So this is state diagram, sequence diagram, use cases, class and collaboration diagrams are the Unified Modeling Language, UML. Okay. So this is the elements of the analysis of model. And next, so elements of analysis model we have seen the 4 parts. So first one is the scenario based elements. So what is the scenario based elements? So in previously we have seen the scenario based that is a requirement analysis models. Okay. So in this depict the interacts with the system and the specific sequence of activities that occur as the software used. So this scenario based elements, how the user interacts with the system. So I am interacting with the software, this smart board. How I am interacting with this software, how I am interacting with this system. And what are the sequence of activities that occur when the software is used. So when I am interacting with this software, so when I am interacting with the smart board, what are the sequence of activities? What are the activities is going on? For example, you people are interacting with the laptop. So when you open your laptop, what are the activities are doing by the system? So first it is boot itself. It has to backend so many of the processor running. So whatever the things you have to open, you will open. So that opened documents or what are the Mozilla or what are the browsers that has to be open according to the Users Act. So if I click on the PPT, so the PPT has to open. If it is not open, what is the problem there? So whether the software has corrupted or the system OS has corrupted, what is the thing has happened? So there is just some sequence of activities. So what are the sequences of activities that occur as the software used? When I am using the software, what are the activities it is doing? So what type of activities it is doing? So what it was doing? So I have to take care of that. That is a scenario based models. Sorry, scenario based elements. Scenario based models is a requirement analysis model. Okay. So next one is the class based elements model. So here we are taking the elements. Elements are nothing but the what are the things we have to consider. For example, in website designing. In website designing, front end is a one element. In front end, what are the things? Frame. Frame is a one element. Dividing the website into different frames, that is a one element. Okay. Like that. The objects that the system will manipulate the operations that will be applied to the objects to affect the manipulation, relationship between the objects, and the collaboration that occur between the classes that are defined. So we said what is a class based? So class based is nothing but we use the some objects. So class is nothing but so the set of objects putting together is a class. Okay. So the class is mainly depend upon the objects. So in class based elements, the objects that system will manipulate. So what are the objects that we are using? So what are the objects is nothing but, for example, this is the smartboard marker. In this, two major changes has to change. One is two buttons. So one is for eraser, one is for color. Okay. So those two buttons are the objects. Let us see. Let us assume. So buttons. As per my example, buttons are the objects that the system will manipulate. So by keeping the two buttons over here, so the pen, the smartboard marker has changed. Manipulate is nothing but change. Yes, it will change. The look, it will change. Okay. The operations that will be applied to the objects to affect the manipulation. So whatever the operations we are doing with that. So first button, it has to erase. For second button, it has to change the color of the marker. Okay. So that means after implementing the two objects, what it is doing? It is making some manipulations. It is making some manipulation in operation also, not in the look as well as the way of working also. So and the relationship between the objects and the collaborations that occur between the classes that are defined. So whatever the classes are nothing but if it is written, if the software is developed with in a programming language, then we represent the changes, whatever the changes, what I said here, button 1, button 2, that is written in a some programming language. Okay, don't get confused. So next one is the behavioral elements. So what is the behavioral elements? We have seen the two models. Next one is the behavior. So depict how external events change the state of the system or the classes that reside within it. So whatever the external events. So placing the two buttons over here. So external events is nothing but external after developing of the software. So externally applying some changes. So if I am pressing the too many times of the button, what will happen? The button may lose. That means the button may not use correctly. So external events, maybe due to the some climate changes, the buttons can be struck within the system according to its structure. Okay, so that is the behavioral models. So behavioral elements are nothing but how if an external events are occurred on the system, how it is acting. And next, flow-oriented elements. And last one is the flow-oriented elements. So in flow-oriented elements, represent the system as an information transformed depicting how data objects are transformed as they flow through various system functions. So flow-oriented elements, in flow-oriented elements, it represents the system as an information transform. So in this flow-oriented, flow-oriented, what are the diagrams we are giving? Data flow diagrams, data models we are, database models we are giving. So what is the mean by data flow diagram? So how the flow chart, what is the flow chart? So how the data is going, first we will do the start. So after start we will go for the some work. So whether it is correct work, that means S means it will go to the some other work. If it is no means again the loop has to continue. That means the way of process how it is working. For example, this is smart board. Okay, two buttons. If I press the start, first if I press the button 1, it has to change to the eraser. If it is not changed to eraser, the system is not working. Again, if I press the second button, if it is working, yes. If it is working means the color can be changed, whether it is changing or not, yes. So then it is stop. If it is not changing, no, it is not changing means again it has to go to for the modifying the some program in the system. Okay, like that. So data flow, I think you people know about the flow chart. So first we will write the some start. So after that we will write the sum A equal to 0, B equal to 1, and then here we will give the one condition. If A greater than B, yes. If it is yes, then go this side. If it is no, then go this side. So this is the way of flowing. So the data, how it is flowing from one point to the another point. So the way of flow chart. So that is the flow-oriented elements. What are the system is representing? How the information it is getting transformed. For example, if it is a website, if you given the some login credentials, what it is taking. So whether is you people whether the after taking the login credentials, whether the system is moving to the home page or not. So that is representing in the form of a some practical, not practical one, theoretical part. Okay. So depicting how data objects are transformed as they flow through the various system functions. Whatever the functions it has given. So according to the functions, how the information is moving from one page to the other page, how the information is moving between the elements of the software. Okay, this is the flow-oriented elements. And next, scenario-based modeling. So we have seen about the based elements of the modeling. Okay, so these are the different elements of analysis model. And now we will go for the scenario-based modelings. So what are the scenario-based modelings? Okay, so scenario-based elements. So we have seen the scenario-based elements. What are the scenario-based elements? In scenario-based elements, when the user is interacting with the system, what the sequence of activities are going on within the system? How the system is acting according to the user. Okay. So for this scenario-based modeling, so in scenario-based modeling, what we say, so we have to take some use cases. So in the diagram we have seen. So let us go for the diagram. So in this diagram, what we have seen, scenario-based models. So in scenario based models, what are the examples we have given? Use cases, user stories. Okay. So use cases, user stories. So use cases, user stories, what are they? Let us see. So creating a preliminary use case. How the use case has to create. Preliminary means firstly how, after taking the requirements, how the use cases can be drawn for those requirements. Okay. Alistair Cogburn. So he is one of the contributor of the software engineering. Characterize the use case as a contract for behavior, or the contract defines the way in which an actor uses a computer-based system to accomplish some goal. So this Alistair Cogburn is one of the contributor of the software. What he said is, a use case, by using a use case, characterizes means when we use a use case for this scenario based as a contract for behavior. So contract is nothing but, contract means the word you know about that, for behavior. For what behavior? The system behavior. The contract, so what is the contract defined here is, defines the way in which an actor uses a computer-based system to complete some goal. So why the actor is nothing but the user. Why the user interacting with the system? For some goal. You people are interacting with the ATM machine. ATM machine is one of the software. Yes. So while interacting with the ATM, so what is the goal of the user? To draw the cash. Okay, that is a contract. So in essence, a use case captures the interactions that occur between producers and consumers of information and the system itself. So what is the essence? In essence, so why we are using the use case? So use case captures the interactions that occur between the producers and consumers of information and the system itself. So why we are using a use case? Why we are giving the more importance to the use case in scenario based elements is, so by using the use case diagram, by using the use case, so what are the interactions are going between the producers and consumers? So if you people, for example, I'm interacting with some website. Okay, why some Amazon, let us say it is Amazon. So why I am interacting with the Amazon? So to buy something, whatever it is, whether it is a laptop or mobile or some kitchen works, whatever it is. Okay. So the use case captures the interactions that occur between the producers and consumers of information and the system itself. So while I am interacting with this website, what it mainly, what is the thing it is between the interaction for us between the website and for me the system. Okay, so I am interacting with the system, I am interacting with the website. So what are the things they are placing in the website? So I am contacting indirectly with the producers. That means who are selling the products. Okay, so for that purpose, the use case is used. So by using a use case, you can know all the scenarios. What is the interaction is going between the system, between the actors, between the products, whatever the consumers are there. Okay, so what are the transactions were going on? Transactions means information transactions. Okay. For example, I will give a use case diagram. Okay, use case. Diagram. So in use case diagram, we will take one actor. So actor, we can say this is some customer. So I am taking some use case diagram for the ATM. Because ATM is known to all people, so everyone has interacted. I think in your lifetime, even once also, people interact with the ATM. Okay, so I am giving this. So first, what is the thing for use case? We will take the oval shape. Okay. First, when the user interact with the ATM machine, what is the first thing they will go for? So they will insert debit card. inserting the card, what he will do? And next oval shape, we will take the next oval shape. In this diagram, for use case diagram, we will take on the ovals. Okay. So after inserting the debit card, what we will do? We will give the 1 second. So ATM. ATM use case diagram. So first we will go for the actor. Actor is nothing but some user. So first we will go for the, after going to the ATM, what we will do first, we insert the debit card or whatever the ATM card you will insert into that ATM machine. So this is represented with an arrow. Okay. So after inserting the card into the machine, what do people do? You will give the some pin. Okay. Some pin number you will type. Typing of the pin number, secret pin code or whatever the passcode. Okay. After that, what you people do? So it will give you some welcome option. So after giving the pin number, some welcome option it will do. So that will not written here. Okay, that is done by the machine. We are not doing any transaction with that. So we are not doing any welcome here. And next, after that, so after typing the pin number, it will give some options. You have to select an option. So whatever the goal, whatever the transaction you want to do with the ATM. So what is that selecting of? What you will do? Some option. What option? Whether cash withdrawal or some mini statement. I will going for the mini statement. Select of option mini statement. So after selecting the mini statement, what will do? The ATM will generate the mini statement, and the user, what the user will do? You just take the print. Take the printed copy. So it will generate and will give printed copy. This is a use case diagram based on the user. If the use case diagram if you drawn with the base of the ATM, then these options will change. So here, what the use case is doing? Use case is giving us some of the set of instructions between the ATM machine and the user. So so after user is interacting with the ATM machine, what are the options? What are the information it is transforming between these two people? That is the use case diagram. Okay. So the summary for this session is, so first we have seen some domain analysis. And next we have seen some requirements modeling. And next we have gone for the elements of the modeling. What are the different types of elements we consider? Elements of modeling. And also we have seen the analysis of modeling.